I was told I have just 20 minutes. Ordinarily, I talk for a living. 20 minutes is not enough for me to introduce myself. So when you now give me 20 minutes to teach, at best, we are going to all just do our best to grasp the best that we can. You know, profitable investment for creatives. I didn't come here to tell you because one of the questions I don't answer is the fact that I don't answer the question of, sir, I have so and so amount of money. Can you tell me the investment to put the money in? I don't answer such questions. So if what you are expecting to hear is, oh, as creatives, now that we are making money, he wants to give us the kind of places to go and put the money. That's not why I'm here. I understand the fact that as powerful as the creatives are, as financially rewarding as the industry, the 80-20% rule we always play. So when I posted this on Facebook, I wrote there that creatives make the world go round. But amongst them, less than 20% are actually the ones reaping the benefit in the industry, while the other 80% will barely just be scratching the underparts. And this happens in virtually every industry. If you check those playing football, they are most likely people who are better than the Messis and the Ronaldos, but they are not known. So what do you do as a creative to jump out of the majority 80% and be a part of that 20% that are doing well? So that's what I'm just going to try to do in 20 minutes. Like you already know, my name is Osayi Omokaro, and I do a lot of teachings around finances, around investment, around personal development, around business mastery. So if you want to learn about that, all you need to do is just take that name, put it on YouTube, put it on LinkedIn. Anything you see on those two channels are directly from me. Then once in a while on Facebook. Outside that, the others may just have been posted by my team members. You know, but LinkedIn, YouTube, of course, you'll be seeing me talking on YouTube. So, who is a creative? That's the dictionary and internet definition. A creative is an artist, not just a painter, a musician, or a writer. He or she is someone who sees the world a little differently than others. A creative is not somebody you will say, this is how things are, and he will just take it. A creative person is always wanting to see how they can make things different. A creative person always asks the question, why? If you do your study properly, you're going to realize that an average child is born a creative. But most times, we the parents that have understood what works and what doesn't work, we beat the creativity out of them and make them align with us and begin to accept that some things are not possible. A real creative mind does not accept impossibility. A creative mind would rather say, how can we make it happen? I stumbled into a video recently. I don't know how true it is. When I see videos like that, when I don't research it, when I talk about it, I always put that caveat. I don't know how true is it. This lady was sharing. He said Elon Musk was in a plane with his top executives one day of one of his companies, and they were going somewhere and they were giving him feedbacks about some challenges they were facing. And they said for them to fix it, they are going to need between 6 months and 1 year. Elon Musk told the pilots to turn the plane back. He said, let's go back to the factory. They went there and he said, I want us to fix this thing in 24 hours. What happened? They fixed it. When the Bible said, ye are gods, a lot of times, a lot of us, we've not taken that as something that is coming from someone who created you. The Bible says God sees the end from the beginning. For something that a group of professionals have agreed to take 6 months to 1 year to fix, Someone challenged all of them to fix it in 24 hours and they fixed it. So a creative person does not see impossibilities. I saw how Elon Musk was stuck in the traffic in the US and decided he was going to take majority of the traffic through the tunnel. The tunnels he has been building since around 2015 is almost completed. A creative mind believes that everything is possible. A creative is an individual. He or she is unique. It's a unique someone who doesn't quite fit into any box. You know, we always hear the word think outside of the box. A creative person thinks as if there's no box. You know, when we say knowledge is power, if you are not careful, the knowledge of what you already have become your box. When the knowledge of what you already have dominates your mind, you find it difficult to see what you don't know yet. That's one of the things that work for the children. That's why everything you tell a child, the first question the child will ask you is why. But when we become adults, we already know why, so we don't ask. So when you tell me it's not going to work, I can calculate because I'm in Nigeria, because power is not stable, because the government is not stable. So I agree it will not work. But a child doesn't know all of that. So sometimes if care is not taken, the knowledge you already have become your stumbling block. That's why sometimes ignorance could be powerful. I was sharing with somebody recently. I said, you know how many people live their life very happily during COVID, possibly in the villages. Why? They don't have access to the information you have. So when you knew they were COVID, they didn't know. So they were living happily. They go to their farm. They eat everything. You are tying your nose. They are wondering, what's wrong with these people? First, they didn't even see you because they don't have access to internet. So if care is not taken, knowledge becomes your stumbling block. So the first thing that everyone must answer is, who am I? Thank God I started with that concept that ye are gods. There are actually no limitations. There are no limitations. Sometimes I sit down and just try to review life. Life started in heaven. At some point, you died in heaven. We call it birth. On earth. You surfaced on earth. You continue the life. After a while, you die on earth. You are reborn in heaven. You continue. So, sometimes what we call death makes us cry. But God is just smiling. I was asking somebody, I said, see, this death that we are all talking about, are you sure it's what it means to us that it meant to God? Because I personally felt disappointed when Archbishop Benson in the house had died. How can somebody like Miles Moreau and the wife die in a plane crash? If death really means what it means to us, to God, why will God allow that? Something has to happen on this side of life so that life can continue on the other side. So, why am I saying all of this? We are gods. And everything that drops in your hearts is possible. Because sometimes you think you are the one thinking. No. Some of the things that is very important to you, a lot of people pass it, they don't even observe it. For instance, how did I know I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing now? I answered one question. If every job pays the same salary, what would I rather be doing? I realized I would rather be teaching. So, as a creative, I will know that you are God. You are created in the image and the likeness of God. There is a challenge that God spotted on the earth, and He turned and created you and deployed you to fix that challenge. That's why every issue around those things, you see it, others don't see it. One of the things that offends me is ignorance. Someone told me while I was still in the bank, he said, I like Osayi, but sometimes the kind of words he used for somebody, you'll be wondering. I ask questions like, I expect you to know this even right from primary school. Somebody is working with you in the bank. He's making a mistake. You are saying, are you sure you will not refund your parents' school fees for your primary school? Because they are supposed to have taught you this. Why? That level of ignorance offends me. I realize that's what God created me to come and fix. So that's why I teach. So there is no job you will offer me now, no matter how much it is, that does not allow me to teach that I will accept. So when I got a job to work in the bank, in fact, not I got, I sought for it. In the course of my interview, I told the person interviewing me, I said, I came here to work for 5 years because I want to teach people about business. So I want a situation whereby when they ask, who is he? They will say, it's an ex-banker. So I want to come to the bank to understand how the corporate world works. The person who was supposed to be interviewing me, we started gisting. Our interview took close to 3 hours. When I got up to leave, he carried his bag and told the others to come the next day. I knew where I was going. But while I was in the bank, after 5 years, it was time for me to leave. I already got married. I had a daughter. I was asking myself, how do I take care of them? Because the bank, when my daughter just coughed, I said, take her to the hospital. I don't have to think of the bill. The bank takes care of it. So that fear kept me in the bank for another 1 year, 6 months, and 25 days. So in total, I spent 6 years, 6 months, and 25 days working in the bank. Then I left to begin to do what I'm doing now. So why am I sharing all of this? Self-awareness. Knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom. Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. So even as a creative, one of the dilemma of creativity is that you have plethora of ideas. So which do you settle for? If you are not certain of who you are and where you are going, you become a shadow of many things and nobody can really drill you down to something. Miles Monroe said the reason people are broke is because when people check them out, they don't know exactly what to pay them for. So when you're thinking about someone who can empower young business people, when you're thinking about someone who can teach executives, I want my name to pop up. So even if many things, but if you Google me online, you will only see a few things that I want the world to know me for. So as a creative, determine what you want to be known for. That everywhere, everybody that thinks along that path, think about you. That's the concept of our conversation. So I'll be looking at some profitable investment options. The first one is investing in the knowledge of your craft. As a creative, I want to use, I think Davido is still one of the biggest when it comes to the music industry in Nigeria. I did a little research about him, about his educational background. First, he found that he was called for music. You know, when we hear the word call, we always think about pastors. I believe that everybody was called to something. Once you find that call, your life becomes fun or true. When you watch J.J. Okocha play football, sorry, those are the names I can still reference. I don't watch football. I'm not a fan of anybody. So as at the time I was very passionately following football, the likes of J.J. Okocha, the Fini, the George, those were the people I know. I would be wondering, J.J. Okocha tries to score a goal and miss it. Nigerians are even committing suicide. This young man is smiling. Why? The guy is just having fun. I was told, unconfirmed, that J.J. Okocha actually did not travel to Germany to play football. Alanti was in the field. They were playing football, so the football bounced out of the field. He took the ball, juggled it, and played it back, and the coach called him. That's how he found himself in football. Because football was natural for him. You know. So back to Davido. Davido was, of course, he was born in the US. Started schooling. I think he came back to Nigeria, but he eventually got back to schooling abroad and he started doing business administration. But he pulled out, bought musical instruments and started to play music. But his father eventually insisted, I think he got admission to, I can't remember, whether Babcock University or thereabout. His father had to invest in a music, I think music and theater or whatever department, built a department because of his son. Because he realized this is this guy's calling. There's no need fighting him. Fela was sent abroad to go and study whatever. He got there and studied music. So when you discover what you have called to do, spend all your life developing that thing. So Davido becoming who he is today is not by accident. The call was there. The giftings came with him. What you are called to do came with you. So imagine when you realize you are called to play football and you are trying to study swimming. No matter how good you are, you'll be among the crowd that are very good. But when you realize you were called to play football and you studied football, you'll be among the best. For instance, you create a competition between eagles and fishes, and you said the feed will be inside the water. The eagle will look like a fool. Does that mean the eagle is a fool? The eagle is one of the best when it comes to flying. But the competition is happening inside the water, which is not his field. So that's what will happen to you if you don't understand what you are called to do and invest in that. You will say, it seems like there's more money in music than film production. You jump into music. I haven't done 5 years. I say this thing, not be the way we think say it be, not be so it be. Oh. You come into film industry. Before you know it, 10 years is gone. You say, all this creative. Are you sure say they know they use something? You know? Because for us as Africans, whatsoever we cannot explain, we spiritualize it. You know? So, invest in the knowledge of your craft. Educate yourself along that path that you are called into. Then invest in the business of your craft. There is the technical side of things and there is the business side of things. The man with the business knowledge will always win way above the man with the technical knowledge. I play in the tech space. I really don't do a lot of the tech stuff. I just know enough to use them for my work. But I have people who will know you as a website developer, but they would rather want to give me the website job. I'll charge them 500,000. I'll give you 200,000. You do the work. I have enough knowledge to manage what you do, to ensure you give me the best, then I'll give it to him. I'll make 300. I will not touch the work. You make 200. That 200 is most likely even bigger than what you would have priced if you were talking to that guy. But if that guy is talking to you, the guy doesn't know you. He doesn't know your business acumen and your ability to manage all of the nuances that he once managed. He will most likely price you for 150. But when he sits down with me, we start conversation for 1.5 million. I do it for him for 500. He say, I give you 200. I make 300. What's the difference? I understand the business of the space. You have the technical skill. When I begin to get such and it's becoming overwhelming, I hire like 5 of you. Who does those things for me? I make more money than all of you. Before you know it, I have an agency that does this thing. So, the technical skills that you have, that you go to school to develop, is not enough to make you one of the big boys in whatever industry you find yourself. When Tu Baba was still under the management of Kenny Okugbe and the likes, did you ever hear him impregnating women up and down? Because he was under the management of a business. They could curtail his excesses. When he left them, where is his career today? So you can be the creative person, but understand that this industry revolves around the business side of things. So that's where Nobody can just call you. The young man that introduced me just now, I'm seeing him for the first time. Of course, when I came to his church and did my presentation, we exchanged numbers. He reached out to me. When he reached out to me, where is he? I sent him a number. I said, send the email requesting my presence to that email and all of that, and copy my own whatever. Somebody from there sent him a document that he needed to fill before I can be here. You see? So you don't just jump at me. And that person will check my calendar and tell me whether that day is free. I came back from Ghana 3 days ago. I was out of Benin yesterday morning. I came in around 6. So if any, and this event started 2 days ago. So if the date was around those 2 days, I will not be available. It's as simple. There's a business. So when people talk to you, I was coming just now, I was listening to an advert on radio. The lady is saying, I will give you, I will give you. I said, this lady needs to go for mentorship. In business, there's nothing like I. Even if you are alone. Have you heard of the unholy trinity? Me, myself, and I. So when people talk to me and you're negotiating what I do, sorry, I may have to talk to my team because the prices have been fixed. I really don't just have the power to change it. So we have to talk about it and somebody will communicate to you. That somebody may be my other phone. You know, see, the more difficult it is for people to get to work with you, the more value they place on what you offer. The truth is, I've gone for conferences where the gate fee is 500,000. Everything they taught is not different from what we learned where the gate fee was 20,000. But you know what's the difference? The people that can qualify to be in that room are not the same. Everybody who can pay 500,000 to be in a room, and you pay 500,000 to be in that room, conversations from between both of you can result to businesses that is clocking 7 figure. But when you enter a room where the gate fee was 20,000, the caliber of people you see there will be different. It's just like you want to travel. You go to the park or you go to the airport. The kind of people you will meet will be different. They are all created by God. But the pricing for flying already did the shifting. So when people engage you one-on-one, because you don't understand the business of your craft, it becomes a challenge. Then, okay, I think I say a lot about it. Operate as a business, not a one-man. Operate as a business. Use the word we. Use the word my team. Instead of I. And for some of you who are creatives, go ahead and register a business. I do a lot around the consulting field. They will tell you, if we hire you as a consultant, this is your fee. If we hire your company as a consulting company to consult for us, this is the fee. And sometimes the fee is like times 10. The difference. So when people come to talk with you for what you do, they should be communicating with your company. Do you know the truth of the matter is, you really don't need. I was teaching somewhere yesterday, and we were looking at the factors of production, which is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. That land, I put in brackets, digital. Because today, this is your land. You really don't need an office to start a business. What's business? The exchange of value. You know, so even in doing your business in that digital space, put that structure around it that make people understand that they are dealing with a business, not an individual. They are dealing with a business, not an individual, because people will price you cheaper when they are dealing with you as an individual. There's this man I follow, Dan Locke. He said, between the day you reach out to my office to work with me and the day you eventually talk to me, it's a minimum of 30 days. It's compulsory. It's intentional. You reach out to the office. Hello, am I on to Dan Locke's company? He said, yes, welcome. Thank you. What can we do for you? He said, okay, I was looking at doing this with your boss. All right. So we'll send you a document. You fill that document. We go through it. Somebody will get through to you and all of that. That process takes 1 month. He did it intentionally. He said somebody was calling, oh, we wanted Dan Locke to come around and teach our team. No, unfortunately, Dan Locke does not come to your place to teach. You either get your team to his organization for him to teach them. He doesn't come out, so he doesn't want to be engaged as an independent consultant. So you give his company the project, your people come around, you won't see him. You see, if you listen to Dan Locke, how many of us know Dan Locke? If you ever join any of his course, he used insultive words. He said, you know the reason I talk like that? People need to be offended to change. And sometimes you can't pamper people to change. He said, I sit down with MDs of multinationals and they talk to me and say, no, you couldn't be that stupid. How dare you think like that? He said, you know why? Before they even get to talk to me, they have made all the payments. I don't discuss money with clients. Everything finance has been discussed. Payment has been made before they eventually get to talk to me. You may not be there, but you must build having that at the back of your mind. And it takes a lot of investment. It takes a lot of investment in building that system, that structure that will make your business become that big. Then consider investing outside your industry. How many of us know Mark Angel? Do you know that Mark Angel has a construction company? How many of us know that? Mark Angel, the comedian. He said something when Teju Babyface was interviewing him. He said, one of the young men that told me that I should quit comedy and go and learn a skill is now a staff in one of my construction companies. Mark Angel, the comedian. He said, one of my construction companies. So it's not one. So when you see, Alibaba said something. He said, a lot of people don't know that Mark Angel is very wealthy because he doesn't flaunt his wealth. You know, you see some people wear bling bling and you see somebody who is very organized. You easily could ascribe wealth to that one that wears bling bling. I always ask this question. Have you ever heard of the kind of car that Bill Gates is driving? Have you ever heard them talking about the kind of car that Mark Zuckerberg is driving? The real wealthy people don't prioritize those things. The challenge is that the wealthy people are doing everything to live a normal life. The poor people are doing everything to make you feel like they are wealthy. So your wealth should not be seen in what you wear. It should not be seen in what you drive. Don't try to look wealthy. Just be wealthy. And if you are really wealthy, you really don't need to prove it to anybody. It just means that anything money can buy should not trouble you. For me, that's what it means to be wealthy. And if you are not a spiritually sound person, anything money cannot buy should still not trouble you. Because your father can fix it. So once that thing is called a thing, you know the Bible says money answereth all things. Even though that's not the rendition. Let's even say that's what we agree on. As far as that thing is qualified to be called a thing, money can fix it. So when such a thing is required in your life, your finance should be able to deal with it. That's what it means to be wealthy. So it doesn't mean that you wear bling bling, you pass, everybody knows that you are wealthy. That's not what it means to be wealthy. So consider investing outside of your creative industry. Because I authored a book recently. I titled it Money Devotion. Money, Money, devotion. Devoting some attention to your finances. Because I realized that a lot of us, we only have 2 engagements with money. Meanwhile, there are 5 major engagements every human being should have with money. Earning, spending, saving, investing, and overall management of your finances. But a lot of us only involve ourselves in earning and spending. Earn, spend, earn, spend. And my mentor will say, if you work hard, earn money, and spend it, that's the curse that God placed on Adam. He said, by your labor, through your sweat, shall you eat. So the real wealthy people, they earn, they save, they invest, the investment then earn. Then they spend what the investment earns. That's why you can never see a real wealthy man fight over money. But have you met a poor man? You say, my hard-earned money. I worked for this money. You cannot cheat me. You see wealthy people. You see wealthy people. Is that stylishly telling me that my time is over? You see wealthy people, they buy a plane ticket. They get to the airport and for one reason or the other, the flight is cancelled. The next question they are asking, is there any other airline that is flying? They buy another one and they move. Go to the park. When I was booking online, I booked for seat 7. And somebody is sitting. I'm not entering any. You must give me back my money or you give me my seat. When people are acting like that, they think they are fighting for their rights. For me, I'm just saying, hey, poverty is shouting. Poverty is shouting. Because the truth is, if that money you are spending was actually like the granddaughter of the real money you work for, you know, you work, the money give birth to another, and that one give birth to another, and you are spending the grandchild of your sweat, you will not really be troubled. So, for us as creatives, understand that your industry will not always, and even in your industry, you will not always be the high flyer. I'm not sure you hear so much about Alibaba today when it comes to comedy. But it will be a dilemma if Alibaba is broke. Because see, no matter how much you earn, if you can't take your finances to that last aspect of management, you can be broke again. Go take a look at the life of Mike Tyson. Look at some of our prominent footballers. Even look at people in the creative industry. They are falling sick and the entire world is donating to take care of them. What happened? They were earning and spending. Because see, there is this wrong mindset that you always have. Almost everybody is in it. You think that the way things are now, it will always be like that. So when you are earning, you think another one will come. So determine what is financial management. Just ensuring that your money has an end in mind even before it came. That's what budgeting does for us. Because when you don't give your money a direction, your money will lead you astray. Money is better off being led by someone than it leading you. So consider investment outside your industry and concentrate on developing your business and engage professionals to manage your investments. Because if Mark Angel begins to go and study construction engineering because he has a construction company, the major thing that generated the money that started the construction company will dry up. So focus on what you're doing. Focus on the true means by which the fund is coming and channel it to professionals who will manage your investments. I think with that, I've come to the end of my session. Thank you. Are we taking questions?
Yes, we are taking questions. Thank you. Right. Checking. We are taking questions. Does anybody have a question? Thank you very much for sharing those.
Thank you.
It sounds very simple, but they are very important points that he has actually made. Most times we always like to look outside.
Yes. I always say life is simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah. We always like to look outside, but the 3 things or the 4 things you've shared, I think they are very important things for us to look at. First, who are we? Secondly, what is the business you have been involved in? Do you understand that business? Are you investing in that business? And do you understand the business of the crafts or the space that you have found yourself? And the like. So does anybody have a question for him? He's right here. Take advantage of him now. The next time you might see him, you have to pick